Alright, so Grim Dawn Season 4 is coming up, and I'm looking at three potential builds for that. This is going to be the first of the three, and this is the one I think I'm going to start with. This is a Spark of the Realm. For each of the three builds, I took one of the different, new MIs and tried to make a build around it. This is the Callidor Tempest build. So this one uses the Spark of the Tempest with Durg's Charged Carapace. However, I'm not sure if I should use the Durg's Carapace or do a dual wield of Spark. Because Spark is going to do about 100% more damage if you'll have about 100% more lightning damage by using Spark. You'll get about 5% more health. You'll get more offensive ability, you'll get more casting speed. And you lose, vitality resistance? You'll lose vitality resistance. You'll lose the chance to block, which is pretty big. And you'll lose the chance to stun, as well as the 50% skill cost. On top of that, we'll also lose 12% armor from the elemental exchange loss, as well as 6% phys res. So we lose a lot of toughness and sustainability with the mana, but we gain a lot of damage. +2 to Callidor's Tempest is actually more damage than +3 to Inferno, and it also increases the radius of Callidor's Tempest as well. But it's like survivability with the shield, survivability and sustainability with the shield, or damage by dual wielding. The other thing is, if we dual wield, we can't use an Arcanist relic, so we actually lose 1 point in Callidor's Tempest anyway, because we have to use a relic that gives us the ability to dual wield. Because we are going Mage Hunter, so we can use Aura of Censure. But that's another reason why dual wielding is nice, because that's another 10% lightning resist reduction. Aura of Censure is doing even more damage. We're getting 4% additional attack damage converted to life. It might just be overall better to use a dual wield relic and this. I was also thinking about using Serenity as my relic here instead of an Arcanist one, so I could get more for that. But if I have to use a dual wield, a dual wield one is going to be a lot more damage. Just in general, a lot more damage. The shield is going to be a lot more survivability. My chance to block is just 31%. It's just base chance to block, so I didn't do anything else on top of that. Just using Living Rings for now, because the flat damage for Elemental Exchange is nice. What do you do? I don't know, buddy. And this is just the base leveling setup, all farmable MIs that I can pick up on my character. Pretty easy to get lightning damage blues. And if I can't get these, I'll just craft the blues for this. An Inquisitor belt, because it's Aether to elemental damage, and the Arcanist belt is elemental damage to Aether, so I don't want that. We have the Callidor Tempest Metal, which is more lightning damage, and this gives us Aether and Fire to Lightning, that's why we don't really need this shield per se, because that 100% Fire to Lightning doesn't matter here, because we're already converting it with the Kaimon's Badge. But 50% reduced energy cost might be necessary, so I'm planning on farming the shield and then farming a dual wield version as well, just having that as a backup. Using Spark, Ultrix Spark for the +1 Inquisitor. Stormbox isn't. We're using Stormbox to proc a Devotion, but we're not really using and to reduce defensive ability, but we're not really using it. But the +1 Inquisitor is nice. Soleil's for attack damage to health. Ascendant's Vestment for just flat elemental damage, and Inquisitor Seal. These new shoulders, I don't know where they're going to drop yet. We'll figure it out. Just because it has lightning damage, Though the lightning damage converted to acid damage is something I don't like, so I'm considering probably a different pair of shoulders. I haven't decided yet. I've been looking through the different ones. I might just go back and use an elemental shoulder instead of these. I wanted to use these because of the physical resistance, the offensive ability, the health. These are just really good shoulders overall. And we're using the Ascendant Hood for more elemental resistance reduction. This is required, especially if we don't dual wield. If we dual wield, this is less required. Looking at the skills, pumping as much into Callidor's Tempest, and Inferno as we can. Can't get a max, as far as I can tell. This is just a one-pointer in here for the flat elemental damage and the physical resistance, mostly so we can get this for the offensive ability and Aether Res. And 1 point in this. Crit damage is not so important at this low level, so it's not really necessary. We get this up as high as we need to just to get stun resistance. This is just max, whatever you can get max, because damage absorption is really nice for a build that has to stand still. Need this for our oh crap button. Of course, offensive ability. Soft cap is best. You don't have to go above soft cap. Mental alacrity might need to put more into this, just because, again, Callidor's Tempest burns through energy so fast. I want to put more points into nullification, but I can't. That's just 1 point forever. Fabric of Reality is nice because of the Aether, because it just like adds flat Aether Chaos to this, and that Aether damage is instantly turned into lightning damage because of the 100% Aether to lightning. And same thing here. The fire from this is like elemental is 1/3, so it's like 1/3 lightning, 1/3 lightning because fire to lightning, and then 1/3 cold. So 1/3 is what. So 2/3 of this damage is actually useful. When you look at Inquisitor, we max out Word of Renewal for defensive ability. Put as many points as we can here for health, for Aether Chaos Res. Max this out. 1 point for this. Max this out because, again, we're standing still, so it's very important to max out our damage reduction here. I might reduce the amount of points I put into this, but the percent damage is pretty nice just to have. And this is another 1-pointer. Looking at devotions, it's pretty standard for a lightning build. Just pushing up here to get Spear. Of course, you get Widow. And then going down here to get Ultos. Because unlike most builds, like Ultos is kind of required if you have an Arcanist in your build, because the percent elemental, the flat percent, or the flat percent elemental damage or resource, resistance reduction is necessary. I picked up that. I'm not sure it's the best use of my points. And I went 3 points into Ghoul just to get the 4% attack damage to health. I could go and get 6% from Fox instead. Now, Fox takes 3. I'd have to go 3% into Toad to get 4 or 3%. So this is the best use of 3 points to get attack damage converted to health and health regeneration. Also got health regen here. I was thinking actually about picking up the Harvester Scythe, but this build doesn't really have that much health regen. And most of our health regen is going to depend on what affixes we get. These are our stats with 0 affixes, 0 components, and 0, things. It does take into account having on Word of Renewal and Arcane Seal. Without Arcane Seal, our elemental res goes down by like 38%. So we basically just have to cap our elemental resistance, and then for overcap we can just rely on barrier. That's perfectly fine. Put a few points into spirit because we want more res, and then the rest in physique. So without anything, these are our main stats. Attacks per second doesn't matter. Run speed max. Our run speed is actually well above max, 9% over. So if we get the minus 10% movement speed debuff, we'll be perfectly fine. There's gonna be no issue there. Yeah, buddy. Gold. That's right. You're gonna paint with gold. Cast speed's at 144%, so that's good. So that's another reason why we need so much resource cost reduction, because we'll be just ripping through our mana. A lot of extra lightning damage from all that. We don't have very much percent life bonus either, so that's another thing. It's like we've got 10,000 life. We've got a 9% life steal, 31% block for 1,000 damage, and like our Inquisitor seals flat. So we have 21% damage reduction, which comes into play after. Actually, I think it comes into play before the flat damage reduction, and then the flat damage reduction from it's like armor flat damage reduction. No, armor is last. So it's like seal, percent, and then flat, I think. And this gives us 364 more damage absorption on top of that. And it increases our health regeneration. So it's actually pretty nice to have that kind of defensive barrier there. And then if we look at where we're going to upgrade, we're going to try to use the like a 3-piece Allagast set. We don't want to use the 4-piece set because, again, we want the resistance reduction from Inquisitor Seal. So we don't want to swap out this helmet. But we'll use this ring. Increases lightning tether. Well, it's mostly just because it's lightning damage, and it helps Stormbox a bit. Upgrade to Cinder Touch, as well as Stormbearers for our things. And our belt, looking for the blue belt, the Arcana Weave Cord, because it's +1 to both Arcanist and Shaman. Not Shaman, well, and Shaman, but Inquisitor. Eternity will be good for our Aether damage, +1 to Arcanist. And Time Loop to reduce our active cooldowns, which is really, really nice for our, So with this, even without any affixes or things, we're already almost at 3,000. We're at 2,700 offensive ability. So we should be able to easily get 3,000 offensive ability pretty quickly. The necklace we upgraded is the Sapphire, which is, again, more lightning damage to Callidor's Tempest. And I'm not using Aether Ray, but it gives +1 skill to Arcanist, and a few other things here. But the belt's probably one of the biggest upgrades, because it's both Inquisitor and Arcanist, and it's Aether damage. Again, I'm still not sure if we shouldn't dual wield this. It might be better to dual wield. Still 10,000 health. That's very low health. If you look at this, we're up to 23% damage absorption. I probably should reduce 1 point in this, keep it down to 7. We have 22% skill cost reduction. 165 offensive ability from that. If you look at Inquisitor, we're up to 6. I think we're down to 16, but it's like so it's 270 damage reduction. So it's a little bit less than it was before because we're not using the chest piece anymore. We still pump this out because this is giving us more health. Stormbox will do a bit more damage, but it doesn't really matter. Stormbox is mostly there to proc. What's it called? Hand of Voltos is Stormbox. So we need Stormbox for Hand of Voltos. Keep shield on Seal, like Inquisitor Seal, so it procs pretty often. Callidor's Tempest for this, so we can just get it off as much as possible. This because we're standing still. We don't have universal Aether damage conversion, so that doesn't really help. But yeah, that's the first build I'm planning on doing. I think this is going to be my start for the season. I might change last minute. The other 2 builds are kind of intriguing as well. But yeah, I'll see you next one.